So I was on a roll. I was an executive with a nice salary, annual bonuses and stock options, all the perks. Everything was on track. And on Monday, January 7th, 2008, the president of the company wanted to have a quick meeting with me, which wasn't unusual since he was my boss. But the meeting turned out to be even more brief than expected. He fired me.
Adversity introduces a man to himself.
And I'll never forget how his words just sucked the breath right out of me. And I left the conference room in a dazed state, and I went home and curled up in my bed in the fetal position for 3 hours. And while I could go on in vivid detail about how I felt, what I did to my self-esteem, my finances, and so on, what I now realize is while that event created the greatest amount of discomfort I had ever felt, it was that discomfort, the departure from my ordered life, that forever changed it for the better.
This is not for everyone. This is not for the faint at heart. This is for people who have goals and dreams that they want to achieve.
I'm wondering this morning if there's anybody here that life has handed you something that you didn't expect. The one thing I can tell you for sure is that nothing is for sure.
Inspiring habits.
Life will often disrupt what you expected. That just as soon as you have it down in a nice, neat little box of how you think it's gonna go, it will never be what you expected it to be. So you gotta get used to being a little disappointed. You gotta get used to being a little bit shocked. You gotta get used to walking into situations and being flexible and adjustable. Because if you are not flexible, you cannot survive. But I came to tell you this morning that our God is a God of the unexpected. So just because life has shocked you doesn't mean it's shocked God. Nothing takes God by surprise. He already knows what's going on in every corner of your life.
When we have a teeth-rattling experience and the very foundation of our life has been shaken, we run to God. We run to God, only to discover that it's God that's doing the shaking.
See, you don't know what people go through behind the scenes trying to cope with life.
In order to develop and to change and to grow, stress is necessary. So you got to be willing to go get it every day. There's a story my father told me. Now, I've heard it several different ways, but I'm just telling you the way my daddy gave it to me. He said, son, he said, every morning on the plains of the eastern Serengeti Desert, there arises a gazelle that realizes that he must run faster than the fastest lion, or he will be eaten and he will die that day. On that same desert arises in the morning a lion that realizes that he must run faster than the fastest gazelle, or he will starve and he will die that day. He say, son, the moral of the story is, no matter who you is, when you wake up in the morning, you needs to be running. And he said, no matter who you is, this proper grammar is who you are, but my daddy didn't do that, and I was comfortable with it. And so what he taught me was a work ethic of how to work. In order to get to where you want to go, you got to put yourself under some stress, though. See, stress is necessary.
Until you have had the taste of finishing, you will not respect yourself. Until you follow through, until something is done, come hell or high water, tears and struggles and pain, and you go through it anyway, and you show up and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances, you finished. See, some people quit because things are out of control. Nobody quits what you can control. But the moment you get in something where you don't get your way, or you get reprimanded, or you get corrected, or you go through this, or you go through that, or you go through the other, the first thing the immature mind says is, this is ridiculous, I quit.
You see, friends, what makes you comfortable can ruin you. And what makes you uncomfortable is the only way to grow. Let me say that again. What makes you comfortable can ruin you, and only in a state of discomfort can you continually grow.
God is a trainer. This is what I done learned about it. And all I can tell you is, how I got to be who I am. That's all I can share with you. I got no other stories for you. He wants me to share my story with those that's still trying to get there. And at 40, you can still buy the pony. But you got to be willing to get under some stress.
Life's not easy. Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it.
Pretty quickly, I became motivated to start a new journey. And after a couple of years of work with my new team, we had this epiphany on how to illustrate and apply the science of discomfort and growth. You see, what dictates the size of a goldfish is its environment. And while this goldfish lives in a very safe environment, it's also very limiting in most every way. And when placed in a more robust environment, like say a small pond, it also means he could be eaten. The environments in which you work, live, and play, they're all a proverbial fishbowl that dictates your growth.
See, when you go to a job and you already know how far you can go, you can already see that proverbial glass ceiling. You already know how much you're going to make. You already know how far you can go. You're in a dead-end position. It erodes your self-esteem. It creates an inner turmoil. It creates an emptiness in you. It lowers your sense of yourself. So I say that your life is worth finding what it is that you're supposed to do. And I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying find it and do just a little bit of it. When I wanted to become involved in speaking, I started just learning quotes, listening to other people's tapes, going to seminars, going to workshops, asking other people to help me. Just start working at it just a little bit, but do find out what your work is and hold on to it and don't let your dream go. Don't let it go.
You ain't got time to talk. You ain't got time to read the newspaper. You ain't got time to listen to any negative conversation.
When I got fired, I didn't have a chance to stay in order. Complexity was selected for me. And when this happens, how much you grow depends on how you respond to it. Now, I could have remained angry. I could have used it as an excuse. But what I actually learned is that I suck as an employee. And I'm much better off accepting the risks of running my own company. Now, think about the power of that phrase. Growth only occurs in a state of discomfort. I can unequivocally state I wouldn't be standing on this stage today without my uncomfortable or disrupting day 9 years ago.
Life demands that you pick up the pace. Life demands that you pick up the pace. If you don't pick up the pace, you're going to be left behind. I'm amazed at the people that lack the flexibility to pick up the pace. They just get in a rut. I scroll down here and I'm going to scroll back. I'm going to scroll over here. I'm going to scroll over there. I can't deal with people who cannot pick up the pace. Don't be scrolling when I got a 911 on you. I need people who can pick up the pace.
Most people are spectators in life. Don't get knocked down while you're sitting down. You want to get out in the field where the action is, and you will be amazed. After the struggle, there will be a calm period, and things will begin to click for you. Come out here with what you got. You don't have enough money? Don't worry about it. You got the dream. You got the idea. You don't have enough resources? Don't worry about it. You need some help? Don't worry about it. You get out here in the arena, someone will look at you and become inspired. But if you're sitting up on the bleachers, nobody's going to ask you anything. See, most people don't get out in the arena of life because they don't want to fight.
Dissect your successes in the reciprocity of gratitude. We so often focus on failure, don't we? When we study failure, we obsess with failure. We dissect failure and our failures. We dissect them so much we end up intoxicated with them to the point of disillusion. Now, I'm not saying be in denial of your failures. No, we can learn from them too, but only if we look at them constructively, as a means to reveal what we are good at, what we can get better at, what we do succeed at. I find that most of the times our obsession with what is wrong just ends up breeding more wrong, more failure. Now, the easiest way to dissect success is through gratitude, giving thanks for that which we do have, for what is working, appreciating the simple things we sometimes take for granted. We give thanks for these things, and that gratitude reciprocates, creating more to be thankful for. It's really simple, and it works.
My son and I were doing a little cookout, spending a little quality time together, he said to me, he said, Daddy, he said, I'm planning to do this, and I'm planning to do that, and I'm planning to do the other. I'm planning to do this over here, and I'm planning to do this. And when I get out of college, I'm gonna do this right here. I'm gonna go over here. I plan to live over here, and I'm gonna do this over here, and I'm gonna do that. And then when I get through doing this, I'm gonna do that, and do that, and do the other. What do you think about that? And I thought to myself, my God, I'm so excited, and I'm so proud. Because he told me, he said, Daddy, he said, I can't talk to all of my friends about it because he said, most of my friends don't want nothing. The danger of low expectation.
Think it not strange when you have goals and dreams that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. Be not be surprised that family members and friends and people who should be there to encourage you and to motivate you, that they will try and discourage you. They're called a pyramid scheme, and they don't believe, they can't see this new you. Don't allow those negative naysayers, the people who are suffering from possibility blindness, to stop you. Had I listened to them, I would not be standing here. Had I listened to them, I would not be traveling around the world, living my dreams and not my fears. There's something in you that says yes to your life, yes to a greater future, yes, yes, yes. There's something in you, in your heart of hearts, that said, I'm not going to let anybody pull my strings. It said, I'm going to control my own personal economy. It said, I've got a dream I want to achieve. I want my children to have a choice of the kind of education that they want. That said, I am the captain of my ship. That said, I'm going to control my destiny. And whatever it takes, I'm willing to do the work.
I would rather aim for the stars and not hit them than to not aim at all. I would rather go after it and not get it than not go after it at all. I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. I don't want to live with the idea, wonder what would have happened had I done more with my life. I'm gonna go for it, come hell or high water. I'm going after my destiny. Touch your neighbor and say, run. You gotta run after your destiny. You can't stroll after your destiny. You can't walk after your destiny. You gotta run. Somebody holler, run.
Get grounded. You got to get grounded in tough times. Brace yourself.
Everything you see above ground that blossoms and grows and that's beautiful, it was underground one time. The dirt is necessary so you can prove yourself. All them potatoes, collard greens, they was underground one time. Them apple trees, they was underground one time. So they had to prove themselves. See, you want to be successful, well then you got to prove yourself. You got to push through the dirt. You got to come up through here. You got to come out. Then you sprout, and then Bishop say, then you become a tree. Next thing you know, you got fruit. So when you under stress, take the stress for what it is. Don't get fooled. Don't just think, man, Lord must not mean for it to be. What you talking about? How you think you gonna be a plant, a tree, a flower, and ain't no stress? How you gonna get to be that without no dirt?
When you feel discomfort hit, that means you've entered the complexity ring. Complexity is nothing more than changed order. But when your order is changed, outcomes are no longer predictable, and it's unpredictability that makes you uncomfortable.
And as you think about your goals and dreams, your personal goals, your financial goal, and whatever that number is, I want you multiplied 100 times. Don't ask yourself how you're going to do it. My favorite book says, lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. There are things you can do that you don't know right now. At this stage of my life, I'm training people how to work with young kids. I'm teaching them how to develop their mindset, how to become effective communicators, how to begin to dress like a prospect and not a suspect, how to select friends that's an asset to them rather than a liability, and how they can begin to use their skills and talents today rather than going out beating the pavement looking for a job. And I believe that we can create a different future for our children when we work together to create communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. And that's what you're doing here now.
You can't just wake up in the morning and let me see what's going to happen today. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to wear. I don't know what I'm going to cook. I don't know where I'm going to go. I just woke up. Oh, you should stay in the bed. Give the day to somebody who's going to run after their destiny. Give the day to somebody who has a plan, who has a strategy, because success is never an accident. And if you don't want it, get out of my way, because there are some people who want to do something with their life, who will run.
See, preparing to come up and speak to you, that was not challenging. But let me share with you what it took me years to do, was to believe that I can do it. Given my circumstances, born in an abandoned building on a floor, being adopted, being labeled mentally retarded when I was in the 5th grade, and put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and failed again when I was in the 8th grade. Being raised in poverty, how you live your life is a result of the story you believed about yourself. And so being in the environment where I was born, it's not where you start, it's where you're going. That was my reality of being poor. I was stuck. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. I never forget the gentleman I eulogized a few weeks ago when I first met him. He said, "Young man, go to the board to work this problem out for me." I said, "Oh, sir, I can't do that." "Why not?" "I'm not one of your students." "Look at me." "Yes, sir." "Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow." "I can't, sir." "Why?" And the other students started laughing. "He's DT. He's a twin. His brother's smart. His sister, she's smart. But he's DT. "What's DT?" "He's a dumb twin." And I said, "I am, sir." As the students laughed, and he came from behind his desk, he looked at me. He said, "Don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." And so that was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, "Look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be." As Mother Teresa would say, inspired, distract, dispute, and inspired to become like a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter. How important is that? That's major. People have lost hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. Tell the story on how you saw this opening up the door for a new life for yourself. Is it easy? Of course it's not easy. It's challenging. It requires patience. It requires persistence. It requires a willingness to do whatever is required to create a new life for yourself.
Tee yourself up. Do yourself a favor. Make the choices, the purchases today that pay you back tomorrow. Residuals. In my business, we call it mailbox money. If I do my job well today, and that movie keeps rerunning on TV, 5 years from now, I'm getting checks in the mailbox. It's a heck of a deal. Get some ROI. You know what that is? Return on investment. Your investment. You. Customize your future. Don't leave crumbs.
I'm not mentally fit to work for somebody for the rest of my life.
There are some people who went further than I did because they ran when I was playing. They were studying when I was partying. And the Lord sent me here to tell you it's running time. It's running time. It's not strolling time. It's not walking time. It's not sightseeing time. It's running time. Touch your neighbor and say running time. You see, if you hear me good, especially young people, if you run after your destiny, you will automatically distance yourself from your history. You understand? If you just run after what's in front of you, you will escape what's behind you. Don't spend all your time trying to fix what's behind you, because you'll never be able to fix what's behind you. You have to run after what's in front of you. Somebody's late, but you made up your mind. I'm gonna start running. I didn't get it till I got to this age, but I'm gonna start running. I messed up junior high, but now I'm gonna start running. I messed up high school, but now I'm gonna start running. The moment you get the word, you ought to run. The Bible said, the day you hear my voice, harden not your heart. When God gives you a chance at an escape, don't be cute, run after your death. My God, run, run, run after your death, run.
See, I'm a seed, I really am, but a seed has to be planted. A seed got to have dirt put on top of it. If you take a seed and throw it on the concrete and walk off, the sun just burn it up. But guess what? Dirt is necessary for growth and development. Dirt builds character. Dirt gives you the push-through factor. Dirt makes you come with it when you don't feel like coming with it no more. And you get dirt in a lot of different ways. All of y'all that had dirt thrown on you. And dirt ain't always what you want. It's somebody talking about you down on your job. It's somebody accusing you of something that you didn't do. It's somebody telling you you ain't gonna make it. That everybody get dirt put on them. But see, when you're getting put under that stress, God is always working. I know he back there, so I smile. See, that dirt builds character in you. When they talking about you, it teaches you to withstand it. Then it gives you something to push through. So when you put the seed and you put the dirt on it, if you understand stress, stress really ain't just dirt. See, they don't call it dirt when they plant it. They call it soil. Because see, soil has nutrients in it. When people talking about you, dogging you, they're actually putting nutrients in you. They're building character. You got character now.
And see, I didn't do what I'm doing now for 14 years because I assumed I couldn't do it because I had never done it before. There are people who can tell you no. They're living off an assumption. They assume because they've never done it before, they can't do it. Or they assume because they've been involved in the business before and things didn't work out, and so this won't work out. I didn't do what I'm doing now because I assumed because I don't have a college education. I assumed because I had to compete with people with PhDs and MBAs. I assumed because of my lack of education, I could not compete. How many of you ever decided not to do something based upon an assumption? Raise your hands, please. I didn't do what I'm doing now because I had such a tremendous inferiority complex because of my lack of college education. I stopped myself. And so as you look at yourself, as you look at your goals, look at your dreams, it's very important that you take time every day and write this down to retrain your thinking. You got to retrain your thinking because how we live our lives is a result of the story that we bought into. I had to retrain my thinking because of what I saw. Studies indicating that the decisions we make in life is directly related to the things that we saw, the things that we experienced, the conversations we've been exposed to between age 0 and 5. And so as a result of that, my experience, I had to begin to engage in a process of retraining my mindset. And I didn't even know what I was doing.
Teachers, mentors, the government, they all give us guidelines for which to navigate this life. I'm not talking about those obligations. I'm talking about the ones that we make with ourselves, with our God,
in the heart of our spirit being,
with our own consciousness. I'm talking about the you versus you obligations. We have to have them.
This man, Mr. Swiderski, I'll never forget. What I loved about him, every day he had a routine. It was his time in the morning he spent working on his mind. And I wanted to be in the office as he was shining his shoes, listening to Earl Nightingale. All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. Listening to Dr. Dennis Waitley, people form habits and habits create futures. Listening to Zig Ziglar, if you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. Listening to Jim Rohn, when the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. Listening and reading the words of Winston Churchill, the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but at the end, there it is. Reading from my favorite book, Be Not Conformed to This World, Be Transformed by the Renewing of Your Mind. Listening to these words help to create a different vision for myself. Some of you are already doing it right now. I'm saying this is a time more than ever that you want to begin to inoculate yourself with positive words, to make yourself unstoppable, to get out of your mind the polluting negative thoughts that's causing most people to go through life being stuck because they're volunteer victims. Somebody said that many people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65 because they got so much garbage in their minds. You are here because you've got a clear vision of what you want and where you're going. Give yourselves a round of applause.
So friends, it's not the discomfort of losing a job, but it's order you should fear the most because it is a threat.
We have created a fictitious ceiling, a roof, to our expectations of ourselves. A limit where we think it's all too good to be true.
Inspiring habits.
But it's not. And it's not our right to say or believe it is. We shouldn't create these restrictions on ourselves.
You gotta run after your destiny. You gotta run after it. You gotta run after your destiny. 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 You gotta run after it. You gotta run. Touch your neighbor, say, run after your destiny.
Don't worry if they don't get it. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. You are not like everybody else. You can walk outside and find pigeons, but if you're looking for eagles, it's going to take you a minute. You are different. It's lonely at the top, but you eat better. That's what I'm talking about.
We ain't even perfect. See, I expect dirt now. I expect people to talk about me. Matter of fact, I look forward to it now. Do your thing, because if I can weather what happened to me and my family earlier, you can bring whatever you got now. Bring it. Because now I have developed a character that is stress. I have soil, enough dirt on me that has provided me with nutrients. So now, let me help you understand how hard it is to be successful. It's like doing 100 push-ups. You know, the average person can't do 100 push-ups. But because of the fact that it's difficult, you're not gonna try? Through prayer in some kind of way. You ain't got to know how. You just got to start. See, too many people try to figure out the how, but you done 100 push-ups. Now I'm successful. What I got to do to stay successful? Hold that position. Lock and hold.
Life wasn't created to be what we think it is. Beyond words, we must experience the wilderness to be taught what cannot be otherwise known.
One great entrepreneur said, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me.
If the axe is dull, a dull axe.
I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I will never cower before any master, nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. You showed up so that you can stand and say, I did this. I did this. This is my dream.
Do not stroll, do not walk, do not meander, do not wander, but roll after your destiny. Run after your destiny.
Winners win and losers lose. We see peace. We see love. We see family. We see possibility.
Charles Udall said, in life you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities brilliantly disguised as problems.
Producers are thinkers. Consumers are hoarders.
He said, I'll give you all your eyes can see, and holding that vision will give you power. Therefore, take unto you the whole armor of God. The armor of stickability, determination, perseverance will allow you to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat.
It's your own willingness to accept or seek discomfort that will dictate the growth of not just you, but our entire world. Thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of this.